That was a huge moment for me because that was actually my first time winning as a professional. That was my first official professional win. And to do it in that type of setting in a 1500 in a tactical race where it came down to the finish, I was just like flooded with all these emotions. And I've actually never broken the tape ever, like never in high school, never in college. So to do that in my first professional race, it just felt like such a big moment to run a personal best, win my first professional race, break the tape, do it on TV that all my friends and family could go and see. It was a really big moment for me, and I you could like see it in the video. I'm just like fiercely running, and then when I knew, I just couldn't even help myself, and just a huge smile came across my face. And I was it was a lot of validation for me just in my career, and just a big moment in like the journey that I've been going on. So I was so happy and just like really proud crossing that finish line. Yeah, my goal was to be there with 400 to go and be able to cover every move. But I was confident from my race the previous week. I raced at just like a UVA, the Virginia Challenge. I was able to have a really big close at the end in the last 400. So that gave me a lot of confidence that like no matter what the last 400 was going to be, I could be there. And if I was going to be there, I planned to make my move with 100 meters to go and just see if I could outkick the rest of the field. And I had this like perfect opening in lane one because everyone went wide to block each other off. And I was like, this is my moment. I'm like, I'm going before this gap closes. And I just was sprinting as hard as I could. But it was weird to have the race kind of play out the way that I actually envisioned it to. Like I went back and was like, I'm going to wait for the last 100 meters. Like, no matter what, I'm going to save myself another gear then. And it happened to work out that way in this race. So I was really grateful that I had that opening, but I had another gear left in me and I knew that. So that gave me a lot of confidence once I saw that opening, and there was no looking back once I went for it. Yeah, so I want to be in the 5,000 meters at the trials, and that's the goal. And a lot of the 1500s I've been doing have been me practicing the end of what the Olympic trials in what I think the last mile of the 5K will be. I want to be able to be strong enough to be in the field at the end of the race, but I also know that if it does come down to making a team in the last 400 or 200 meters, you're going to need to be able to run a 60 or a 28 and just like be able to be there and close. So that's been a huge focus of mine, like making sure that I can be there at the end of a race and be able to close hard. And I like went back and watched. I ran a 5K and qualified for the trials in Texas in February, and that was my first 5K of the season. And I ran 15:19, and I got that trials time. But we went back and watched that race, and I just didn't have. I went for the lead, but I also didn't have a close in that last 800 meters that I wish I did, and that's been definitely something that I've been working on the last month or two going into this sound running 5K. And I have my heart set on running that Olympic time and being able to be there on the line at the trials and see what I can do. But that meet in Texas in February, running, that was my first 5K of this year. And I walked away with a big PR and just like a really big confidence boost, being able to compete with that type of field that was there and feel like I belong. And that's been like the biggest thing the last month or two, like just feeling like I belong as a professional runner and I can be there. And now I feel like I have that confidence to really show it in a race and like show what I can do. Yeah, that's been a huge transition. I was actually so relieved actually when the Olympics were postponed, just being it was my first year as a professional. I just transitioned to I moved, I have a new coach, I have new training partners. And I was pretty nervous like signing in a year of an Olympic year because I'm like, oh man, like things are clicking really well in my fifth year at Georgetown. Like that, it's the best I've been running throughout my entire college career. And then to go and change things the year that there's an Olympics was a scary moment, but also what I knew I needed to do for my career moving forward. So once I got that extra time, I was really relieved because it definitely took a year to get used to Coach Fox's training and just that transition. Because in college, I really didn't have that much consistency because little things would just come up and I'd be injured or have to have these setbacks. And now, since my 5th year, I've been running for 2.5 years consistently without any major interruptions. And that's been the biggest advantage I've had, just being able to run and train and having all of last year to adjust to Coach Fox's training and his intensity and training with other professional runners, and everything's been elevated to a whole new level. And it really has taken me until this last fall to finally have things like really click in practices. Because I was struggling a bit transitioning last year. The intensity was just a lot more than I was used to at Georgetown, and it was taking a while to like feel like I really had my legs under me. And I remember coming back this past fall for like, we came back in October because we had a late summer season with a couple races during the COVID season. But I remember I nailed like the first tempo at Ridge Road, which is the hilliest road that we do tempo runs on. And I had not even ever done that tempo that fast and that smoothly the entire year before. And I was like, I got it. I like finally have nailed a Coach Fox tempo after an entire year. And that kind of like set the tone. Like my fall was just like each week and each month was building on top of the other. And I went into this year just so much stronger and more confident as a runner. And I think that's shown in all my races so far this season. But it was definitely an adjustment. And I definitely have struggled with all these big transitions, whether it was like going from high school to college and then transferring when I went from UNC to Georgetown. So, and then going from college to professional. But the biggest thing is just been having more time. And I'm lucky that it's been kind of clicking at the right time right now. And now we're only like a month or 2 out from the trials. And it's exciting to be where I am right now. So I kidnapped him once COVID started. So we were distant until exactly when COVID hit, like mid-April, like last year. I took him down to Charlottesville, and he hasn't really left since. And we got engaged this past fall. So yeah, we live together here, and it's been really fun. I mean, even during quarantine, we were just, well, he was recovering from surgery in the beginning, but like when we were running, it was great. I mean, we were just training full time and running together, and we get to do that now. We link up mostly for just like easy days. I don't want to hold him back, like if when he has to do his training and I'm doing mine, but we definitely can link up a good bit right now. And I've been like waiting for the moment actually for me to be doing like a 5K workout where I'm doing like Ks at kind of his like easy threshold pace, so we can link up for the first time. And we actually did get to link up a couple weeks ago, and he got to pace me and my teammates in a workout because our pace is actually linked up for our hardest 5K workout and his just like regular K repeats. But it's really fun. I mean, it feels like a luxury because we get to do the same thing every day and we're together all the time. Everyone thinks we're probably obsessed with each other because we don't do anything without each other. So Coach Fox and Adam make fun of me all the time, but it's great. And to have him he's done everything I want to do in this sport, and he's been in this sport. He's been a professional for almost 10 years now, which is so crazy because he turned pro when he was in college. And I've just learned so much from him, just being with him. And he's definitely like built me up in my confidence and just has made transitioning to being a professional that much easier than if I didn't have him, and someone that I can turn to for advice and just training and having someone who's doing it with me. But it's really cool to have him and being able to do this in the sport. And I look up to him so much, more than he probably knows. And I'm just like, all I want to do is be as good as him and do everything he wants to do. We get competitive a lot, but in a good, healthy way. It's probably good that I'm a 5K runner and he's a 15 runner, but I'm always like, I don't know, like my 15 is getting pretty close. Yeah, so definitely like trying to race during the 2020 season was really hard. And I had one breakout race in the indoor season, but even just a pit was like my two 5Ks that I put up. They went really poorly coming off like my 2019 season, and that definitely put a pit in my stomach of just like how much how far I felt like I was, and the question of like, will I be even at the trials in this year, like coming up, like will I be there? And that was definitely a pit, and a peak was definitely that race in Texas where I took the lead against a world champion and the indoor mile record holder, and just wasn't afraid to kind of like put myself out there and go after my goal and not let someone else control my race. So it became a tactical race, and I was like, this is my moment to get the trials time. Like I came in here thinking I could run the Olympic time, and we're so far off that pace that I might not even get the trials time right now. And that was the whole goal going into that Texas race. And I was really proud of myself to just kind of just go for it and not really care who was next to me or the people in my field. And that was definitely a peak that kind of just has lit like a fire under me this last few races. Oh man. I definitely would love to be in a race with Ellie again. She is such a stud, and racing with her in Texas, it felt really cool to just be on the line with such an amazing field, and I'd love to the chance to race against her again and just try to latch on as close as I could to her, because she's phenomenal and she's been crushing it recently. So I'd love to race Ellie again for sure. Oh my gosh. Um, okay, so I'm obsessed with Halsey, so I would definitely have to pick a Halsey song. I'm definitely obsessed with her. So maybe I would just pick Nightmare, because that was actually the song that I was obsessed with in my 5th year going. I like listened to it before regionals, before nationals, and I remember I was like sprinting my pre-run just like shakeout run, because I was just like jamming to like Nightmare and like being a nightmare to everybody, like thinking I'm going to be a nightmare to everybody on the track. So, and I'm like, oh no, I probably shouldn't have done that right now, but I have a race in a couple hours. But it would probably definitely be like Halsey Nightmare, because I definitely try to listen to that song before I race, like the last season. Definitely. um Honestly, it's been for me as a female and being a 5K runner, it's definitely been Julie Cully. And it was so cool when I transferred to Georgetown and she was my coach, and I'm like, wow, like I'm getting to train under Julie Cully, who one is from New Jersey and we're both from New Jersey. So I'm just like, I love that, first of all. And two, she won the Olympic trials in 2012 and made the Olympic final. And that's exactly what I want to do. And she's been a huge mentor for mine ever since I transferred to Georgetown, and just like kept believing in me even when I was struggling those first few years there, and just like never gave up on me or what she knew my goals were. So she's definitely someone I look up to so much as a female in the sport, and someone who's done exactly what I want to do. And definitely Robbie's my other running idol, because I just well, one, I'm in love with him, and two, like I just I definitely care so much about him, and he cares so much about me, and it's been really cool to have him as a partner who's done again exactly what I want to do in this sport. And he's definitely someone I look up to and try to like replicate what he's doing all the time.